Good morning and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24, reaching you from Abuja. I'm Comfort Amadu.
And thanks for joining us. I am Ruth Aguele. Now the headlines.
First April Fool, who is caught in the web? Correspondent on this assignment.
Life shouldn't be too steep and difficult. So once in a while, when you crack jokes like that, it has nothing to, it adds to the joy of life.
The Nigerian Air Force describes as untrue online report on molestation of suspects in Zamfara.
Harnessing the potentials of Tadashonga Irrigation project in Kwara State for developmental gains.
We have been facing very major challenges in terms of flooding.
And we start off with April Fool bug. Yes, it's that time of the year again when practical jokes and pranks are pulled on family members, loved ones, friends, and if you will, colleagues in good nature.
Well, Abdulkarim Mohammed Zurmi heads to the streets of Abuja to find out how people feel about April 1st, commonly known as April Fool's Day.
There are fun and games on April Fool's Day around the world, and Nigeria is no different. No one really knows where or when it started, but one thing is for sure. There have been some epic pranks pulled. One that comes to mind was when the BBC convinced its listeners in 1976 that there'd be a decrease in gravity on Earth. You can imagine how the phone lines went crazy that day. Well played, BBC. We take a look at various pranks people have pulled on each other in their years celebrating this popular day.
For me, I think, life shouldn't be too steep and difficult. So once in a while, when you crack jokes like that, it has nothing to, it adds to the joy of life. So April Fool that we know in, the African parlance is just one of those things that we grew up with.
People use it to pass time. People use it as a joke. But anyway, once upon a time I was in Anambra State. Like one man used it to deceive one house help. He told the house help that your mother said you should cook 10 cups of rice. And when the girl entered inside, the girl go and cook the 10 cups of rice. When the woman came back, the woman was very surprised. I will come find out that the woman didn't say it. And later the man said, I was just joking, it's just April Fool.
It brings out the anxiety out of people, and it's a good experience.
It's all laughs and play till it's taken to the extreme. All in good cheer and all that, I guess.
They just call me from our school that, okay, fine, my ex-girlfriend just collapsed, okay, fine. And mutual things about relationship. Very, very scary. I have to fly from Adwekiti to Ilorin. Wow. I'm telling you the facts.
I wonder if they still stayed as friends.
Very, very.
Okay. Well, good on you, friend. So, fellow Nigerians, keep an open mind today. For all we know, you could be the next April Fool's victim. In Abuja, Abdulkarim Mohammed Zurmi, NTA News.
Ruth, sometimes those pranks can really be extreme.
Yes, and scary, but, if you're aware of the day that it's April Fool's Day, that is April 1st, I think you'll be conscious. Have you been pranked today?
Of course. Someone sent me my wedding invitation, and I opened it, and it was like April Fool. I didn't see it coming.
But the laughs is always good.
Now let's move on to the next story. A very cheering news as the federal government says it is going to set up 6 cashew processing plants in 4 states. A statement by the Minister of Agriculture, Aldo Ogbe, says Enugu and Benue states will have 2 plants each and 1 each for Kogi and Oyo states. The minister says the initiative is aimed at adding value to the produce, creating employment and wealth to the country. Aldo Ogbe added that the initial challenge over years is access to credit. However, the federal government is discussing with the Brazilians with a view of bringing in machines that will process the cashew fruits into juice, which has a high content of vitamin C.
And experts are of the opinion that Nigeria has no reason to import rice if the country develops and leverages on its irrigation potentials.
One of such projects is the Tadashonga Irrigation project in Kwara State, which the Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu recently visited. Musbat and Wahab reports.
Tadashonga Irrigation project was initiated to convert challenge to opportunity. Located on the bank of River Niger, the project was designed to demonstrate the improved method of rice cultivation in floodplains. But the project, which started in 2010 and scheduled to be completed in 2013, expected to produce about 35,000 metric tons of rice annually, suffered challenge of funding. Interestingly, it is now one of the 116 ongoing projects prioritized for completion by the government. The crops and fish farmers who have been longing to leverage on the project appealed to the federal government to fast-track its completion.
And we shall be so much glad if federal government can assist us, most especially in the areas of rice farming, because we have been facing very major challenges in terms of flooding. When our rices are already done, the flood will just clear everything.
Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu promised the people and the Emir of Shonga, Haliru Yahya, that the government of the day is committed to the project's completion.
Because of the scope and the benefits that stand to be accrued from this project, we accorded it high priority. And we are making effort to complete it.
It's a very strategic project. It's got a capability of multiplying effect because the Fadama area is so huge and covers right down to across Vida and whatever.
The components of the project include a 32-kilometer flood protection embankment, a gravity irrigation covering about 5,000 hectares with pumping stations on the bank of River Niger. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
And now to security matters. The Nigerian police has reassured stakeholders of commitment towards sustaining the community policing initiative to ensure adequate security of lives and property in the country. Acting Inspector General Mohammed Adamu Abubakar stated this in Lafia during a visit to Governor Umaru Tanko Al-Makura of Nasarawa State. Joshua Ojitsu reports.
The Acting Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu Abubakar, who was in Lafia for wedding engagement of his children, met Governor Umaru Tanko Al-Makura on improving security situation in the state. He says securing local communities will be given priority in order to curb crime in parts of the country. The acting IGP solicits the support of state governments as he urges people in rural communities to avail police with useful information towards tackling security challenges.
And in doing so, we are in the process of restructuring the way the police function is so as to meet up with the challenge of community policing. By the idea of community policing is to move policing to the community. Let the community initiate, then we'll come and cooperate with the community to solve the problem.
Once every individual within any community considers himself as part and parcel of the security arrangement, I think success would have been achieved even before we embark on the project. So I want to assure you that Nasarawa State will support you, will collaborate with you to ensure the success of police, community policing.
Governor Al-Makura congratulates the acting IGP and assures him of support by the state government. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force has issued a statement concerning a viral video and pictures circulating online of military personnel flogging suspected armed bandits in Shinkafi, Zamfara State. According to the statement signed by the Nigerian Air Force Director of Public Relations, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, some of those implicated were indeed NAF personnel stationed at the Galadi subsector at the time, who intercepted suspected armed bandits and resorted to unauthorized methods to extract information. The NAF therefore wishes the public to note that it does not condone such human rights violations and has since taken steps to investigate and take appropriate disciplinary action against those found culpable. The statement says, as an organization, the NAF remains a professional fighting force which will continue to operate within the law while remaining accountable to the Nigerian people.
And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says, contrary to alleged insinuations about fresh elections, the Commission will only undertake collation of results from 6 council areas apart from Abuja and Odua, where supplementary elections will hold.
The National Commissioner in charge of Edo, Bayelsa and Rivers, May Agbamuchi Mbu, made this known at a stakeholders meeting in Port Harcourt. Robinson Derataide has details.
The enlarged stakeholders meeting had in attendance political party chieftains, candidates, security agencies, religious leaders and NGOs. INEC at the meeting maintained that it has the results of 17 local government areas in its custody, stressing that it will only resume collation in 5 local government areas of Ahuda West, Asaretoro, Degema, Gokana and Kana between 2nd to 5th of April. The Commission noted that elections did not take place in Abuja local government area.
This is a new slate, and we're going to start again. And when I say start again, we're going to do it openly. You're all going to be there to see and make your comments. We'll allow those who have any genuine comments to make, we'll allow them to do so.
Stakeholders, including the governor of Rivers State, Yoson Wike, urged INEC to announce the results of the 17 local government areas and be transparent in the collation process.
Maintain the openness, maintain the transparency. The church has prayed, but we need peace. We Muslims will ask and demand for peace.
The candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, Biokpamabo Awara, however, expressed dissatisfaction with INEC's position, citing an ongoing court case on the matter as reason the process should not continue. INEC further assured the stakeholders of the safety of the materials and results in their custody, noting that they have not been tampered with. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has ascribed the successful conduct of the 2019 polls as well as the preservation of the lives of Nigerians to God. This was at a special service of Thanksgiving organized by the Aso Village Chapel in Abuja.
Correspondent Jide Unifade was at the conference center of the State House, venue of the program. Here's a report.
So many reports are linked to what brought about the celebration of mothers and motherhood. But one thing that cannot be argued is the role of mothers to having a better society. As observed by wife of the Vice President, Oludolapo Osinbajo, mothers always crave for opportunity, advancement and better life for their children.
Mothers, we need to arise and shine. Indeed, darkness has covered the earth and gross darkness the people. But the Lord will arise over everyone in this.
And raising concern over the negative effects of the social media on children, she wants mothers to intensify efforts in protecting their children. The clearest modern precedent for Mother's Day is the early Christian festival known as Mothering Sunday, which falls on the 4th Sunday of Lent. Over time, the Mothering Sunday tradition shifted into a more secular holiday, and children would present their mothers with gifts and other tokens of appreciation. This is being kept alive at the Aso Village Chapel as children here present gifts to mothers of the nation and by extension to all mothers in Nigeria. They also sing on the theme of the day, which is Mothers Arise, for thy glory has risen. While for former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Ekaite Akpabio, who represented the wife of the president, led others in the cutting of the anniversary cake.
In as much as some of us are very busy, we should be watchful who we leave our children with.
Foundation of every nation starts from the upbringing of a child at home.
Mothers are generally a caring species. In those days, mothers really cared. They still do care, but I can tell you that the pets of mothers is what has kept us alive, and that is what gives us the thrill
I believe as a mother, it's our primary responsibility to care for our husbands and for our children. That is the injunction that the Lord has given us, and I think it's a pleasure to do so.
Because when you teach these children, bring them up in the good ways, the children will also make a good society for us.
If I teach my children well, they will influence others, even in their schools. So I must teach them well. If we want our society to be changed, it must start from our homes. Biblical teaching, the truth and nothing but the truth.
That we can't make too much of our mothers. We should celebrate them. In fact, the Yoruba say we should leave the idols and begin to worship our mothers.
From the Aso Villa Chapel, Jede Onifade, NTA News.
Sorry for that mix-up. It was rather a report on Modern Sunday by Jide Onifade there. And still on Modern Sunday, Victor Azu examined the significance of the day.
Renditions like these are not heard every day. It is often reserved for Mothering Sunday. While Anna Jarvis led the campaign for an official holiday for honoring mothers in the U.S. in 1905, the year her mother died, the fourth Sunday in the Lenten season every year is set aside to appreciate the sacrifice of mothers for the home and humanity. The only connection between both events being the common purpose.
Ask the Holy Spirit to come down.
Christian mothers get to play significant roles in the day's worship, including preaching the sermon. Trust mothers to also put up their best show to savor the moment.
My message to Nigerian women is to take care of their children, because these children, they are the ones that will take care of them when they are old.
Ijoma Idika is celebrating her 16th Mothering Sunday, and it still feels very special, she says.
My husband, my children show me love every day. But there's a special thing that happens usually on every Mother's Day. That is the day that they gather and tell me how much they love me.
Expectedly, there are messages from the pulpit on the church's expectation of a good Christian woman and the significance of the day.
Today in the church is to celebrate the ministry of the women.
Women of Nigeria must bring joy to the men, and by bringing joy to the men, they are bringing joy to the nation.
Every woman is to be decorated by divine grace to be a noble woman.
While modes and dates of celebration may vary, Mother's Day traditionally involves presenting mothers with flowers, cards, and other tokens of appreciation. I have done my part towards my mother. Have you?
Thank you, Victor. Yes, indeed, we have. And let's take you back to the report we called earlier on Thanksgiving service at Aso Villa, where Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was in attendance. Jide Onifade reports.
Living by the scripture's injunction to give thanks in all things, Nigerians, irrespective of religious inclination, attended the service of Thanksgiving, offering praise to God. For Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, his involvement in a helicopter crash during the campaigns and still alive to tell the story is another great testimony of God's great mercies to the nation.
All of the exaltation comes from God. God is the judge. He puts down one and he exalts another. I want to thank the Almighty God for exaltation. I want to thank him also for exaltation for all of us who are here and who are believing God, and those who are believing God for exaltation.
Speakers at the event described the victory in all areas as divine, which all Nigerians need to thank God for.
We also need to thank God that the opposition also had the grace and the wisdom to take the civil parts, the civil constitutional parts, to express their dissatisfaction over the election results by proceeding to court to challenge the results instead of instigating violence across the country.
The variety of songs rendered at the occasion equally points to the grateful heart with which the people of the country appreciate the works of God. The service of Thanksgiving is one of the series of programs of appreciation organized by the presidency after the 2019 elections. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
It is gratifying to work for humanity, but it is more gratifying and memorable when you work in the vineyard of God, as the reward for your selfless job is tripled by the Lord.
This is the scenario when 3 area pastors of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Glory Divine Assembly, New Nyanya, were sent forth. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed report.
We are not here for jamboree. We are here to appreciate the general. We are here to appreciate the people who have made this parish a zone.
To the host pastor, this is not a jamboree, but a way to thank God for all the blessings and favor on the Divine Glory Assembly. The gathering indeed lived up to expectation when the evening was lit up with musical ministration by the church choir. The Vesti Pastor Raphael Olayemi, who took his reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 to 9, reminded the faithful that God has indeed allotted time to everything in life, and human beings are only accomplishing the will of the Lord for the betterment of humanity.
When we are talking about time, especially in the mind of God, God has given us time, and He wants us to act diligently in a conscientious manner, because when God says, this is a time I'm giving to you, God is expecting a result.
For the celebrants who got encomiums from their church members for their still worship in raising the Divine Glory Assembly to its present status, view the good testimonies as not just a pat on the back, but a challenge to do more.
This is a wonderful family, and it's the best place to be.
The congregation and guests could not hide their feelings as they raised their hands and praised the Lord.
You excel. I said you will.
The Redeemed Christian Church of God, Province 3, New Nyanya, became a province in 2018. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
And in dealing with predicted global economic difficulties, a 38-page book with the title Understanding Your Power Over Stress has been presented to the public. The report.
Understanding Your Power Over Stress is an insight into the pathology of human anxiety, causes, consequences, and control. The book covers topics like marital stress, security of life, struggle for status, decision-making, and imaginational stress, among others. The book reviewer, Tijani Ahmed, described it as a must-read for all Nigerians, stressing that stress, if properly managed, leads to prosperity.
The outcome is called domestic upheaval, such as divorce, conflicts at home. This affects our work.
When your elastic limit is being exceeded, you will be stressed. And when you are stressed, you are bound to have problems.
Author of the book, Dr. Frederick Obidigwe, says stress may be unavoidable. Proper management would either lead to self-actualization or cardiovascular ailments.
When stress is not managed, then it gives birth to all these diseases.
Stress is said to be a global health challenge that has led to many deaths, if not properly managed. In Abuja, Ikechukundukwe, NTA News.
And still on health, the Medical and Health Workers Union has reiterated support and better care for Nigerians, while also ensuring that health services are in line with government's health programs and policies.
Aisha Uba Ali reports that speakers at the 10th National Delegates Conference in Abuja lauded the achievements of the union in healthcare delivery.
Once in every 4 years, delegates representing the Medical Health Workers Union of Nigeria meet to take stock of how the union has fared and possible areas of improvement, as well as devise strategies to address emerging issues. There was a consensus on the need to build a strong and vibrant public sector free of rancor.
This period witnessed the highest number of crises in the health sector. And this is because where a Minister of Labour ought to be a neutral voice, it was headed by a medical doctor.
Only here that they are the richest in Africa, the richest in this region, but how much tax are we actually paying? Because in other climes, it's the rich that will subsidize for the poor. But here in our context, in fact, it's the workers now subsidizing for the rich.